Welcome to Reality Rewire, presented by the Wisdom Network. We're here to explore the tools, practices, and healing modalities that create real transformation from the inside out. Today's conversation is one that you're definitely going to want to hear. Let's get into it.
How free are you? Really? Most people have a limited perspective of what freedom is, and that's exactly why they're stuck. It's a question that shows up in almost every conversation I have with clients. And honestly, it's a big part of why I do what I do. I'm Goddess Iman, the Liberation and Ascension Guide. I liberate spiritually aware people to reclaim the power of who they are beneath the roles they play and who they had to become, so they can confidently live an empowered, authentic, and joy filled life. Now, that question, how free are you? It showed up in a way I haven't stopped thinking about. I was on a call a few months back with someone who'd done it all, the therapy, multiple retreats. They read all the books. And near the end of our call, it was that doorknob moment, almost as an afterthought. She said this one thing, one sentence, and immediately she tried to laugh it off. I didn't laugh, but I've been thinking about that sentence ever since. And I'm going to tell you what it was, but first, I want to walk you through why it mattered so much. There is a distinction when it comes to freedom. Often, we're taught that it is circumstantial, and we learn to measure that externally based on money and based on time. But in truth, it lives in the behavior. What you do when you're under pressure, how you respond to conflict, and what it costs you. You can gain freedom in one area of your life and lose it in another without noticing. Here's an example. Say there's a new job that you really want. It comes with a pay increase, and you know that would give you freedom in the financial realm. So you secure that job. Now the pay has increased. You have financial breathing room. With that job, you've gained stress, a toxic work environment that's throwing off your work life balance. So, in one aspect, you've gained freedom financially, but at the expense of your well being's incarceration. Freedom is never one avenue, it's several, and they can move in opposite directions without you noticing the trade off. So, in your day to day, freedom shows up in how you navigate conflicts, in your boundaries, in decision making, your self talk, as well as your time and energy. With conflict, freedom is about whether you stay in the room, say the true thing, speak your truth instead of what's comfortable. But some people handle conflict by disappearing into, oh, I'm fine. No, it's okay. Yeah. Even when it isn't. That's not freedom. With boundaries, it's more than just having them written out on paper. Are they actually holding firm when someone pushes those boundaries? Are you knowing your limit yet still saying yes and agreeing to things beyond it? If so, that's not a boundary. With decision making, freedom in decisions is when you are choosing from your own clarity, when you're moving from your center, not running down the checklist of what other people will say and questioning their opinions first. You don't need anyone's approval to make a decision to make you feel safe. A free decision doesn't require that. With self talk, that freedom is the difference between the inner voice that guides you and the voice that puts you away in the tower, the one that keeps you safe by keeping you small, by keeping you contained in a version of you that's not grounded in your truth. If the loudest voice in your head sounds like guilt and shame, that's conditioning. That's not conscious presence, and as such, that's not freedom. With the time and energy, people usually mistake that one aspect as the entire picture. You can have a full bank account, but what value does that actually hold if you're still depleted by EOD Monday? The thing that I've noticed is that most people only account for one of these, maybe two. Those domains don't operate in isolation. You can set a boundary at work and still collapse when it comes to boundaries in your marriage. You can be crystal clear in your decisions, but silence yourself in active conflict. So remember this: freedom is a consistent, active embodiment. And that embodiment exists domain by domain. But usually people only think of it in terms of time or money. And they assume that if one area looks good, everything else is going to be fine. You can be maxed out in one avenue, one element, one aspect of freedom, one of the domains, and be completely locked down, leaking energy and depleted in another. And that's the energy underneath what she said to me. The woman from the call I mentioned, the sentence she tried to laugh off. She said, I don't know what I want anymore. I just know what everyone needs from me. And she said it as a joke. It wasn't one. It was a clear indicator that she lost her freedom along the way. She just couldn't see it. She didn't have the vantage point to see the pattern she was living in. It became a blind spot. And that makes sense. The body is programmed to avoid pain. So some of the hard truths hide in plain sight, invisible to your conscious mind. But before we go any further, I want to make sure you don't save this information in your mind as a character flaw. It's neuroscience. Your brain takes in millions of signals, pieces of sensory information every single second, more than your conscious mind could ever process effectively. So most of it gets filtered out before it reaches your awareness. I've said it before, but we are built for survival. The human mind, the brain, is a highly intelligent computer that is built for survival. Because if you consciously processed everything, every sound, every sensation in your body, your muscles firing as you walk, the blood pumping through your veins, each organ at work, and every emotional current, you'd be overwhelmed instantly and you wouldn't be able to function. So the brain has, let's call it a gatekeeper. And its entire job is deciding what's important enough to let through into your conscious awareness. It's why you can be in a loud, crowded room, but still hear your name spoken, while at the same time, you miss all the other conversations that's happening, even if they are at the same exact volume. Your brain deems those other conversations as unimportant, so you don't consciously perceive it, but it's still there. It's also important to note that your brain prioritizes what's considered familiar and safe over the actual truth. This is what psychologists call inattentional blindness. There's a famous experiment where people are asked to watch a video and just count how many times a group of people pass a basketball back and forth. And in the middle of the video, someone in a full gorilla suit, I mean head to toe, gorilla suit, walks directly through the scene. They stop center stage, beat their chest, and then exit the frame. When the video ends, they ask the viewer how many times the basketball was passed. A huge percentage of people who are counting passes never see the gorilla at all. The person in the gorilla suit was clear as day. It all happened in plain sight, but it wasn't perceived because their attention was locked somewhere else. It was locked on counting the basketball passes, so their brain didn't register it. Newer research in neuroscience suggests that your brain functions like a prediction machine. So it's not just passively taking in information, it's making an educated guess on what's about to happen based on the pattern it's already learned. Then, if new information doesn't fit the pattern, that information is ignored. And these are automatic shortcuts your brain uses to keep functioning efficiently. So when I say the body is programmed to avoid pain, this is what I mean. It's at the level of the nervous system. Your brain will hide the truth from you if revealing it feels unsafe. And it doesn't matter that the truth it's chosen to hide is the thing that will set you free. In that call I mentioned earlier, she didn't see the truth in her statement because her body followed the programming to avoid pain and instead delivered it as a joke. Sometimes you need the outside eye to reveal where you stand. And that's why I built something free for you. A 2-minute assessment that acts as that outside eye. If you're someone who's already been putting in the work, this is not about doing more work. It's not. It's about finally getting clear, getting a clear read on how and where all that work is currently existing in your embodiment. It's no long form, so there's nothing to overthink. to my overthinkers out there. It's an honest read of your current freedom level and one next step that actually moves you forward. So instead of me telling you what I think you find, take 2 minutes and let it show you. The link is in the description and it's called How Free Are You Really? Because you don't have to keep guessing. You can actually know where you stand. Take the quiz.
And if you are ready to stop doing this alone, we have an incredible community of healers, spiritual life coaches, and hypnotherapists at the Wisdom Network who are ready to meet you exactly where you are and take you somewhere completely new. That's right. Head over to thewisdomnetwork.net, find your practitioner, and take that powerful leap forward. We'll see you in the next episode.